And okay, everyone, welcome back to Strange Planet Podcast. And I tell you, in America, it's never a dull moment here. It's a circus and it gets seemingly worse every day. But news for this past week, that is Kristi Noem, the Homeland Security Director, has been fired by the Trump administration. At the same time, the Trump administration decides to start yet another war with Iran. And the reason why I say another is because this pattern goes all the way back to George W. Bush Sr. Because if you realize going that far back, he started a war with the Middle East. His son, George Bush Jr., started a war with the Middle East. And now another Republican, Donald Trump, once again starting another war in the Middle East. So, what do you guys have to say about this chaos? And how bad do you think this one's going to get?
Point out that I believe this war that he has started is a wag the dog moment. Try to steer us away from the Epstein files, which 100%. Are still out there and still, showing that Trump is basically involved. The fact that the midterm elections are coming up and they're rigging that too. Other than that, I think that this is the soft opening for World War III. So strap in, folks. It's going to be a bumpy ride.
You ain't kidding. And the funniest thing you said about the Trump Epstein files there is no matter how many wars or chaos this guy incites, it's not going to make those files go away. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's really not, unless this country's stupid enough to forget about it.
They were stupid enough to elect him again, so
that's fair point. Fair point.
So I'm gonna push back on the notion that only Republicans start wars in the Middle East. We've had conflicts under Democratic presidents with the Middle East. Bill Clinton didn't really initiate anything. We've had, little conflicts with the Middle East during his term, but nothing major. Obama continued the war that George W. Bush started in Afghanistan after 9/11 and in Iraq. Eventually, Obama was able to, bring the Iraq war to a close and wound that down and set us on a path. Well, hold on. No, it's not. No, they're completely different countries. Okay. First of all, like you just can't say another war in the Middle East because they're completely different countries, completely different
the point was involved. It was another war though.
Okay.
Like another war.
But hold on. President Obama famously said, "I'm not opposed to all wars. I'm opposed to dumb wars." And what Trump has done is started a dumb war in the Middle East. Okay. So Iran, definitely not the poster child for a, democracy or a friendly country toward the United States. It's been a thorn in our side for many decades. And, the history with Iran goes back, even before that. So many people don't know that in the, I think, 1950s-ish, Iran was actually a democracy, a legitimate democracy that decided to elect their first democratically elected leader, Mohammad Mossadegh, I think his name was. And they, had this leader, and he decided to nationalize their oil, meaning that they would have control over it. Now, at the time, there were companies like British Petroleum, BP, that, had business in Iran, and they weren't interested in a nationalizing of the oil because that meant the oil would go to, the Iranian people. And so what the CIA did was staged a coup and overthrew their democratically elected leader and installed the Shah Iran, who was a dictator. And that dictator was brutal suppressed democratic voices, and essentially that resulted in the Iranian Revolution of 1979, when they took hostages. This was like when Carter was president and Reagan came in and got the benefit of freeing the hostages that were already going to be freed, once once the president changed. They didn't want Carter to get credit for that. But anyway, so they've held a grudge against us because we, the United States, CIA intelligence overthrew their government. And so they were super protective about their government. So the Iranian Revolution, had, a religious leader who's in charge, the Ayatollah. And I guess his job was to basically say, okay, we're going to be a democracy, kind of. We're going to have elections, we're going to have a president, but the only people that can run for president are the people who we say can run for president and not anyone else. So they have to be committed to, the Iranian Revolution principles and, keeping Western influence out of Iran. Now, if your government had been overthrown by Western interests, you might understand why they were so afraid and paranoid about, the West and the United States getting involved in their government affairs. And now the United States has, done it again. They overthrew the Iranian government for the second time, I mean, a few decades, but has gone by, but maybe 70 years ish. But this is opening a whole new wound, and it's not going to heal because not only did they see last time they just like kicked the guy out, this time they assassinated him, okay, and blew up a bunch of people, blew up a bunch of leaders like who could have taken over.
Right.
And so now you're getting, and don't get me wrong, like the Iranian leadership that was there, very contentious. Their population protested against them. They put down their protesters, and suppressed them. Don't get me wrong, it was a dictatorship. It was not a true free democracy. That being said, there is a new, fresh wound that Iranians are going to be feeling against the United States.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that occurred was that they bombed, hospitals, and they bombed an elementary school, a girls' elementary school.
Unbelievable.
And killed a bunch of kids.
That's
That does not go over well with the population. That is the kind of thing that, terrorists can point to in terms of recruitment. Look, they blew up a school full of girls. They want us dead. Come join us, fight for your country.
exactly.
That is a terrorist recruitment tool. They were not careful about the way that they did this. They did this quickly and recklessly and without consent of Congress.
I was just going to
And
say
Congress has abdicated their duty once again to declare war. And it's in violation of international law to assassinate a world leader, like someone who is a sovereign in charge of their country. Now, regardless of how bad that person is, they were the head of state of another country, and you can't just assassinate
you
someone
can't just go
like
in
that.
there and kill. Yeah.
They set another precedent with Maduro, and Venezuela, and went and captured him and took him out and hauled him out. That was already without congressional approval.
Once again.
So now they stepped it up a notch and said, "Oh, we're just going to, you know, kill a head of state of another country." And, that is going to have tremendous repercussions. The Iranians are desperate now.
Right.
So, they're firing, missiles and drones at all these countries in the Middle East because there are U.S. bases there. They can't attack us here, despite what Trump may claim in terms of, oh, they're about to have a. So that's another thing. They claimed like 5 different narratives for why they had to do this attack. They said that, oh, well, they're having they were going to build nuclear weapons. Didn't we say we completely obliterated them, last year?
Exactly. Yeah.
So that wasn't an option. Then they were like, oh, well, they were about to attack us. Okay.
There was no proof of that.
No, they were not.
Yeah, there was no imminent
well,
threat.
now they were going to attack us because Israel was going to attack them. So then they were going to attack us. Like, so wouldn't the thing to do be to, talk to Israel and be like, hey, if you attack them, you better have a plan for, them not, retaliating against, U.S. interests or whatever. And this was done, just outside of congressional approval yet again. There's a reason that congressional approval was required of Congress in the Constitution. And, Congress is just not interested. They're not, are they holding hearings? No. One of the things they did, and this is fucked up. This is really fucked up. Okay. The Iranians had a ship that was training with the Indian Navy, and the United States also participated in that training with the Indian Navy. So the kind of criteria was that you couldn't have armed ships. Your ships couldn't be armed while they were participating in this training. And so this Iranian ship was there and, was leaving this training, going back to, Iran or whatever. And then the United States decided to do this attack. And because they had been part of the training, they knew exactly where this ship is,
Right.
blew it up from the sky.
Wow.
Or no, excuse me, blew it up from a submarine.
Wow.
Okay. Like killed like 80 people and I guess maybe like 30 survived.
That is
Like,
really fucked up.
But it's yeah, like it's sick. They had no way to, know that this was coming.
Yeah.
They were there
It was
to
a
do a
surprise attack.
training. Like it's fucked up. I'm sorry, but that's cowardly.
I'm assuming there was no survivors then.
I said there were about 30 something survivors.
No, wow. But that is beyond fucked up.
Yeah.
Wow.
And are we going to
Where's
have a
this country
congressional
coming
hearing
to?
about it? Are we going to have a congressional hearing about it? Probably not.
Of course not. Well, see,
Um,
the real takeaways out of all this
are
is
we
a
going to have
couple
a
of
congressional hearing about the school that was blown up?
no,
Why that happened? The elementary school?
the hospital.
Probably not. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we don't, for now, we don't even know who did it, whether it was the United States or Israel.
That's
We don't
yep.
know.
That's another problem. The United States is becoming Israel's bitch, I've noticed in recent years. Or maybe not even just recent years, but but that's the way it's starting to look, and there's a problem there. I'm going to say that. And the real takeaway out of everything
Well,
that you said summed up, one, history repeating itself, and two, I mean, Trump doesn't clearly respect the Constitution, so why would he respect international law?
what's hilarious, or I don't know what to call it, but Trump spent all this time complaining that he didn't get awarded the Nobel Peace Prize, Well, you
Yeah.
definitely ain't getting it this year.
Yeah.
All right.
Shouldn't at all, in my
You
opinion,
almost
man.
you're about to start World War III. Remember how he took Zelensky from Ukraine and was like, you're messing with World War III, like,
Right.
you know, I mean, what is he doing right now? He's the Middle East is a tinderbox, and he just decapitated the government of, you know, the probably the most powerful country in that region. It's not looking good for peace in the Middle East.
No, definitely not. That's very true.
And it's going to, and his posts about this, and it's ridiculous that he's conducting diplomacy through his Truth Social,
Yeah, social
and
media, like,
it's so stupid. Like, if you look at his fucking rants, they're just like deranged. They're like completely deranged, like yelling in capital letters and like saying like, "Oh, you're some of the stuff is like crazy." Like, if you saw a person like saying that on the street, you think, "What the fuck is wrong with that person?" And yet,
yeah.
this person is our president.
Welcome to
Like,
Uh-huh.
media.
who talks like that?
Trolls. Most of them.
Yeah, he talks like an internet troll. And
Yeah, pretty much.
if you voted for Trump, you elected an internet troll for president, basically.
And he's not doing a goddamn thing for you. He couldn't make it more clear because I'll tell you this, and I said it before, I'll say it again. Every single accusation is a confession. Because if you
Yeah.
remember going back to like 2012 or 2013 when he was, tweeting all the time before his, own created bullshit one that he created, he was saying that he was blaming Obama due to poor leadership would start a war with Iran. I guess that one didn't age very well now, did it? I guess not. Yeah, because Obama definitely didn't. And now look where we are and look who did. You know what I mean? This is like full circle coming here, man. And any time, even in the future, he makes an accusation to something, I've realized it's one of two things. It's either something he did or something he plans to do. One of the two. Remember
I
that.
have
It's
I
almost
have a theory.
guaranteed. Go on.
I have a theory. I have a theory. The now Rook, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't there some kind of emergency powers in case of war? I mean, I'm not sure what they hold or what they do, but I'm sure that there's some kind of we're in an emergency war situation. We're not gonna continue um
Interference. Go on.
interference. No, we're not going to continue a election because it's too dangerous to come up with this.
No, there's no,
Okay,
no.
So
I want to
nothing
make
like
sure
that.
because knowing Trump, he could probably be like,
I'm
oh,
I'm fairly certain of that. I thought you were going to talk about the War Powers Act, which he theoretically could use to start a war without consulting Congress for, I think, 90 days or something like
all
that.
he has to say is bomb,
But
and that's what's
but
happening. So
but that requires, some justification, like an imminent threat, which there wasn't. So I thought that's what you were going to ask about.
no,
As
I'm
far
trying to
as
think
as
like,
far as canceling the election, now there's nothing, at least to my knowledge, that would allow that.
Well,
yeah,
that's a plus, I
I
guess,
think
then.
he definitely like he did this not only to try to get the oil
But just because
that
there
Iran
isn't a
has.
law for it doesn't mean he won't try it. And
Right. And he'll probably get away
No,
with
of course, but like
it. Right.
I'm just saying, it's like I can
I
see
mean, you're
him doing
talking to a
this for a
guy
number
who's
of
had
reasons.
people march down to the fucking Capitol building and trash it and delay the peaceful transfer of power.
Yep. And isn't that where the
That
replacement for
wasn't
Noem is
legal,
hiding
but he
behind a
still did
chair?
it. Okay, so yeah, let's talk about Kristi Noem for a
Yeah,
bit,
yeah.
because
Yeah, that
Yeah,
all
clown.
right, all
Balding.
right, she is gone, sort of gone, because
and that's just
you
in a
know,
DHS somewhere, right?
yeah, no, like I think like he appointed her or said she was gonna be in some position, but I don't think it
Many
was.
positions.
Mhm.
But in any case, like she's fired from being the head of DHS.
Right.
Um, but Did you guys like see the hearing or see clips from the hearing that she was in?
I saw a
Like
few clips,
even Republicans were going in on her.
rightfully
Like
so. About
Senator
fucking time.
Kennedy, like they went in on her first about the $220 million commercials that worth of commercials that she's been running. If you turn on your TV, chances are you've seen her,
Riding a horse or
saying
something. Yeah.
basically, you know, illegal immigrants get the fuck out. Now, hold on. Like, how stupid is this, though? Like, she spent $220 million, right, on commercials telling illegal immigrants, uh,
Get out.
in English to get
Right.
Yeah.
out.
Right.
Like, all right, so like,
Yo,
you don't like them because they don't speak the language, but like you're telling them in English to leave. Like, how stupid is that? That shows you that the audience was not them. It was people angry at immigration. It was a political ad, basically, and we paid for it. We paid $220 million for it. And
yep. Talk about wasted money.
Even the Republicans were like, okay, that sounds like a waste of money. And Senator Kennedy asked her, did Trump approve of this $220 million? And she did not. She tried to like dodge the question. She said, yeah, so we had conversations about, getting the message out, before I was in the position. Oh
Fucking
yeah,
liar.
and during the position too. And he came back and he's like, no, well, did Trump know that you were going to spend $220 million on this? And she basically was cornered and basically said yes. So she threw Trump under the bus. And even the senator was like, well, that puts Trump in an awfully difficult position because yeah, he and he's like, I don't necessarily I'm not calling you a liar, but I don't think Trump would do that to approve of $220 million
Going to
for
that bullshit.
this waste of a commercial in which she's featured prominently in those commercials.
Oh, of
He
course.
even said it, when she said, "Oh, but they're quite effective," and it's like, yeah, raising your profile. That's what he said,
Yeah.
and like it was just like, so that if Trump was like, if he did know about it, like that's a substantial waste of money. If he didn't know about it and she
Lied
said he
under.
knew about it, that's perjury.
I was just gonna say, right, right.
Um, Now the other thing was, the contracting with her associates, her friends probably made out like bandits with the contracts that her department gave away. And I think in one case, there was a company that was formed like 6 days before they received the contract. And she, claims that they had nothing to do with it. And, it was all career Department of Homeland Security people that made the decisions. And, you know, she doesn't have anything to do with it. But then why are all these people that are connected to her, why are they getting these contracts? And one of them, Corey Lewandowski, who people might
Hmm.
remember was one of Trump's three campaign managers from his first election. He was one of the people. And yeah, so
Some funny business.
apparently there may have been an affair between her and Corey Lewandowski, and they asked her about it, and she didn't say no because lying under oath would be bad.
Right?
Yeah.
She
I
tried to
think.
like she
Right?
tried to like, pass it off as like, oh, you're, kind of asking me this question because I'm a woman. And it's like, no,
No.
we're asking you this question because we want to know if you're fucking someone you're also giving money to. Okay. Like
Pretty
that
much. Yeah.
you're giving taxpayer money to, okay? That is a relevant question that would be asked of anyone, regardless man or woman. If it was a man, we would ask him,
Right.
you know,
It has nothing to do with
why
it.
are you giving someone your fucking money? Okay. Like it has nothing to do with your gender. It has to do with you giving away taxpayer money to someone you're fucking.
Right. Meanwhile, there's still plenty of people homeless, plenty of people going hungry. But this
Right.
is how
No,
America
and you
spends its
had
money, you know?
no, you had
Is
them.
America great
No, no,
yet,
no.
folks?
The no, 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 no. You had them, you know, parading around saying how much money Doge was going to save the taxpayers from waste,
Right?
fraud, and abuse.
It's all crap.
Meanwhile, that's almost a $250 million
Yep, gone.
of fraud. Okay.
Yep.
Now here's my
Like,
question: do you think she pocketed
oh
any of
no,
that, or do
no,
you
wait,
think it all went
hold
to
on.
fucking?
I'm conflating the figures.
Oh.
The 220 million was for the commercials. That's a waste. I forget how much the contracts were worth, but I mean, there's your fraud right there. You know,
Right.
giving away money to your friends through non-competitive um, contracts that your department gives out. Like, you know, you promise to clean up the swamp. Instead, you know, you just flooded it.
Yeah, you just made it worse. Is really that's exactly the situation here, you know? And
So yeah, so good riddance to Kristi Noem. She's probably still getting paid with taxpayer dollars for whatever else she's doing
Of
of
course.
now.
course,
Um,
Once a criminal, always a criminal, right?
pretty much.
you know who's also getting paid still? That
Who?
staffer who put up the racist Obama Lion King video.
Oh, no kidding, too,
Remember
really.
it was a staffer that did it. It wasn't Trump.
Yeah, right.
Well, who was that staffer and is he still working there?
Of course he is. You
Why are my you know I'm about to pay my taxes. Why are my fucking tax dollars going to fucking some racist asshole who posts fucking internet meme videos?
right.
Because half the country voted for this asshole.
Yep.
Yep.
That's why.
So thank you to all the people that voted for him. My tax dollars are going to pay this racist asshole.
And so are yours too. So don't think yet you're getting, some kind of, relief or benefit.
Who on government time and government dime just posted, you know, a racist internet meme video.
All
That's
I
how we
know
use
is
your tax dollars.
the more I see this shit happening, the more I see nothing like, changing in this country. Like, I don't know how you could respect it after a while. Like, you know what I mean? It's almost embarrassing to be an American. It really is. If you think about it, like this is sickening. You
This
know
is
what I
very
mean?
sickening.
Yeah,
I
and
wouldn't
there's
say
just
it's
no
embarrassing.
relief.
I'm not gonna let those stupid fucks define, you know, who an American is. I'm sorry, but
No,
no.
but they're doing a good job of fucking it up to the point where like it
Now,
doesn't seem like there's going to be, a gateway anywhere to get out of this. You know what I mean? It's just shithole after shithole, and here we are. Meanwhile, the debt
okay, but
keeps going up.
that's the way that Trump talked about this country to get
Well,
elected. He
he
said,
made
"Oh,
it a
this
royal
place is a
shithole.
shithole."
He
Well,
is turning it into that. I hate to tell you like
Projection,
that.
projection.
Yeah, like it's not realistically, and the problem is it's capable of being the greatest country on the planet. But the way in the leadership has been going, it's never going to be. It's never going to be. If we keep this up. So let me just clarify though for a minute here. I'm not proud when I say that either. But like, since this piece of shit took office, literally the cost of everything is going up, mostly due to his tariffs. Now that's everything from gas to food to clothing, pretty much you name it. And so far, there's been not a shed of relief there. Then let's take a look at our healthcare situation. It's been 10 years, and yeah, I don't think that's ever coming. So I don't even know why it's even in the discussion right now, because clearly that's not going to ever happen, especially under this administration. And do we even have an EPA anymore? I'm pretty sure that's been destroyed. Does anybody even know? I'm pretty sure that's like not even a thing anymore. It's been
We,
defunded so badly, I don't even think it exists anymore.
how
So
about the
that,
Board of
good
Education?
luck with the
Have you
environment,
heard?
So, and then what do you call it? Education. Remember the whole the cuts there and everything. So it's like, are these fundamental things for like a shithole country? It's looking that way to me because
yeah, but does a shithole country have a $250 million ballroom? in the White House.
Right. And then like he's over there like, make bragging about it. And that's the other thing that pisses me off when he not only brags about shit like that, but when he brags about how much money is coming in from the tariffs, the American people are paying that. So like that's not
Not
are you
only
fucking
are the
shitting
American
me?
people are paying that, but now that the tariffs have been largely invalidated by the Supreme Court, now you're going to see countries sue the United States
Good.
to, you know, recoup some of that money, and we're going to have to pay for it again if that goes through.
Well,
Um,
this is all leading to what I just said. Does this sound like a well-structured country?
Oh,
And
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 if
this ain't
you
even including the Trump Epstein
if
files.
if
He's a fucking
anyone
pedophile for
if
Christ's sakes.
anyone believes the statements that you're getting $1,000 checks or three
Ha! I
thousand
meant to
dollar
bring that
checks,
up.
you're not getting it.
yeah,
Remember, we were supposed to get a
what
five
happened to our
thousand dollar
Doge
Doge
check?
check and then a $2,000 stimulus. You ain't getting shit
Yeah.
unless you're rich.
It's
That's
it's
the only
all a
way.
lie. It's all a lie, folks.
Yeah. So
Like
keep
the prices
dreaming. If
were gonna come down, the war is gonna end in a day.
Yeah, gas prices have went up tremendously since this new war started.
oh yeah, and it's going to continue. Trust me. And so that's what I'm saying. Does this sound like a great country? Like, does this country sound like it's taking care of its people?
But
No, it
hey,
sounds like
but
it's
hey,
taking care
but
of the
hey, but
1%.
hey,
That's what it sounds
look,
like.
look, we have
Oh, yeah.
Republicans on the House Oversight Committee
Yeah.
voting for bringing Pam Bondi in for questioning about the Epstein files. That is, I mean, against the chairman of that committee. The chairman, backed Trump and basically said no to bringing in Bondi, but the Republicans on the committee joined, five of them joined the Democrats and are subpoenaing Bondi to appear before them.
Those are called
So
slivers of hope. But
no, no.
like,
So we're not gonna we're not gonna get rid of Trump um anytime soon. But I think that, after these midterms, you might see the Republican Party, and I think I've mentioned this before, you might see the Republican Party turn on Trump because
I hope you're right.
a lot of them know how ridiculous he is, like how just like comically horrible he is for
Incompetent.
the
But
country.
where
And
was this 12 years ago?
Right? You're right.
well, no, you
This
saw
is
it.
my
You saw
problem.
it.
Like,
You did see it 12 years ago. You saw JD Vance call Trump America's Hitler. You
That's
saw
that's true, I
Lindsey
suppose.
Graham, calling him out. You saw all these Republicans
so
who are
what
now,
changed? What changed to have these people kiss his ass now?
Money.
well,
They got in on the pie. That's what it
Yeah,
was.
they got a slice of the pie.
Yeah.
Exactly.
it's not money, it's power. It's they want to
Money
stay in
comes with the
power.
power.
What
Okay, but
Yeah, it's
power?
America.
I mean, you say like, oh, they have power. They have power based on their position. I mean,
right, and they want to keep
granted,
their
but
position, so they keep the power.
Right.
yeah, but the way they're wielding power,
A
they ain't
lot
gonna
of
be
these
keeping it for long.
politicians, what you don't understand is a lot of these politicians are egomaniacs, and they want that prestige, they want that power. Yes, money may factor into it as well, but a lot of people go into the politics for, some do it for good reasons, but along with those good reasons, there's also a lot of egomania, and they want to feel important. They want to be in that position. They want to people to look to them to provide solutions, and if not solutions, then at least an outlet for their anger, and be a spokesperson for them.
That's what I think it
Um,
mostly went to, the spokesperson part. Because this administration has done jack shit for any American, whether you're a
Yeah,
MAGA asshole or not. And the
right.
proof is in the
and
pudding.
I'll
Everything I
say this.
literally just said
I
affects
don't.
all Americans, whether you're a
But
MAGA dickhead or
what they
not.
would no, he is doing a lot for them. What he's doing is making people suffer who the base does not like.
But they're
They're
suffering
making
too.
their okay, but
Yeah, they're suffering too.
they feel like they've already been suffering under these radical liberals. And so what they want
God
to
forbid they give you
and
health
a
care,
lot of
right?
their lives are
What?
already fucked up. So what they want to do is
Half of
make
these
sure that
redneck fucks are
everyone
using.
else suffers, everyone they don't like, that they blame these things on for their own personal failures. They want to make sure that everyone else has a shittier life than them. That's
Yeah,
what it's about.
that's well said because it seems to be what it is.
And that's the
That's true.
Christian way.
Yeah, exactly, right. And that's the best part of the whole thing too, because that's the way Jesus taught his teachings, right, to the people and stuff, right? It's real Christ-like.
All right,
Hey,
listen,
man,
folks.
you
If
can't make
you
this
want to
shit
be
up.
Christ-like, one rule you have to follow your entire life, and that's it. Treat others as you want to be treated. That's it. Done.
Yeah.
You don't have to
Yeah,
care
that's
about
not
what
that hard of
God
a
says.
concept.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's it. That's the one
yeah,
concept. That's what Jesus wanted everyone to do. Plain and simple. But I'm not going to get into the religion because we're already dealing with politics.
yeah, as
That's
it
one.
is.
That's one bag of fucking cracker jacks I don't want to get further out of. So, getting back to the nonsense that is the U.S. government,
Yeah,
um,
basically.
I'm going to say that the Republican Party. I don't know if they're going to recover from this within the next 10 years or so, but they look horrible in my eyes. I don't ever think.
As long as there are people foolish enough to vote for Trump,
Yeah,
which
there's no
there
hope.
were, even after,
Well, all right.
the
I wouldn't say
34,
people
34
foolish enough
felony
to vote for
convictions.
Trump. I think it's if there are, as long as there are people out there gullible enough to be fooled.
Yeah, and there always will be as long as Fox
Okay.
News exists.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, you know what I
Well, it's
mean?
not just Fox News.
well, now it's going to
It's
be like
social media.
CNN and CBS
Yeah, but
because they're
soon
No,
because all
they're
these
buying that shit
corporations are
too.
no,
buying
but
out. Right, right.
people don't even watch. Most people don't even watch that shit. What they're doing is going on social media and being inundated with not only false information, but information that triggers them.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
so, that polarizes people, that gets people angrier about the things that, make them angry. And they think it's happening all around them. And, they think that their country is going to shit because of all these things that are happening. And, you know, like people that obsess over like transgender issues, you would think that, they're like, half the population is transgender when it's
Right.
really like less than 1%.
It's literally less than 1%,
So,
I think. Right.
like, why are you talking about it so much?
Yeah,
Like,
like we're making big deals out of things that aren't big deals, and then things that are big deals, they're just brushing them off. You know what I mean? Like
Well,
it's nothing.
it's
if you
we
want to
get
talk
that
about 1%, like, how about the 1% that, own the vast majority of wealth in the country?
Yep, they just got the biggest tax breaks yet
the
again.
there's
Again.
like 920 something billionaires in the country, and they own like a couple like $100 trillion of the world.
Together.
Yeah, together. It's like really 900 of you have trillion. Well, the rest of us are sitting probably on like 100 billion.
Yep, and that's another
Not
thing you
even.
could add to my list from before, because it's like the wages. There's such an income inequality too that's thrown into the mix. You think this administration gives a flying fuck about that? No. You know what I mean? So like, I just see a lot of
Yeah,
problems getting
well,
worse
the
and nothing even
Republicans didn't
close to
give a
being
shit about
resolved.
that for a long time.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly
They
though.
always oppose raising the minimum wage. Somehow
Yeah.
that's bad for
Keep.
business.
Yeah. Oh, don't want to pay anyone of them a livable
Even
wage.
even though every time you raise the minimum wage from, either a federal standpoint or a state standpoint, that means that all companies are at that, have that cost.
Yeah.
So all like they're not, sort of like they can't go below that.
Hmm.
So you at least have to pay that to your workers. And it's not like, it creates this standard by which everyone has to adhere. Whereas if you're a company and you want to raise, your pay for your workers, you can't really do that because if another company's not doing it, then, you know, you're that's something that you're taking away from the shareholders and they won't like that. And it's a lot harder to make those like long-term investments in workers, um, and the economy as a whole. It's hard to see past like that next quarter, whereas the government can solve it by saying, okay, like here's the standard.
Right.
Everyone has to adhere to it. Everyone has to, pay for it. And so, that's the baseline. Now make your money, from there.
And
That's why
God forbid you try to go off grid.
Well, that's why it has to happen from the government.
And it's not going to. That's the sad part. It would be a beautiful thing if it did in the right step. But like I just said before,
especially nowadays, because there's little competition. Competition is, getting bought out and consolidated. You hear all these mega companies just buying, other big companies and becoming even larger. And
thanks
so
to their
there's less competition
too,
because, you can't just start up a company and compete with these mega corporations. You really can't.
Yeah,
there's no way.
Because then they'll choke the byline, then they'll fucking buy you out.
Right. As soon as you get successful, you got to sell out to that company.
Yeah, basically.
If you hope to get anywhere. I mean,
good luck building a big company in America these days.
We're getting into another conversation we should probably save for another episode.
Yeah, that's another thing. And all right, everyone, that's all we got for this week on Strange Planet Podcast. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. New episodes will normally be every Friday. May God help us all. Thanks for watching. Peace.